What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So, I haven't made a video in a long ass time. That's because some stupid shit popped off. Anyway, started to get into making conspiracy theory videos and shit that I think happened to Tupac. Tupac's my favorite rapper, if you guys haven't noticed. That's why I got a BMW and shit like that. Anyway, I got written down on a piece of paper a couple different theories. The top one is about Yafu Fula, which is basically like Tupac's brother. And the second one is about Chris Carroll, the dude that was the first responder to the shooting that night in Vegas with Tupac and all them. So anyway, in this video, I'm going to be telling you guys that Tupac was set up. You guys remember the night that Tupac walked up and sucker punched Orlando Anderson, and then they started jumping him and whooping his ass and shit. Then they all bailed out, jumped in the cars and took off to the hotel and shit. Well, I can't remember the dude's name, but there was a dude that whispered into Tupac's ear saying, "That's that motherfucker that snatched my chain." The dude that whispered in Tupac's ear, he never got his chain snatched. Him and some homeboys was walking out of the fucking Lakewood Mall, and Orlando and his boys walked up on him. I mean, Crips and Bloods have always had beef since they fucking first started back in the fucking 60s and 70s. And that's what happens. If you see a motherfucker that's wearing red and you're a Crip, you're gonna fucking do something about it. And it's vice versa. So, I mean, dude just got triggered and fucking pissed off because they got in a brawl. I mean, there's in the unsolved video, I don't know exactly how many people was really there, because Hollywood is not the same as real life. Obviously, there's a big, humongous fucking difference between all that. But in the movie Unsolved, it showed that Orlando had him and 3 other dudes, and the dude that whispered in Pac's ear, it was just him and 2 other dudes. Anyway, it was just a fucking fight. I never fucking, every time that I got in a fight and I got jumped and shit like that back in the day, I never went and told my homeboy like, "Hey, this motherfucker jumped me, let's go jump him back." Fuck that. If we're gonna fucking fight right then and there, it's gonna be done and over with. It ain't gonna be no fucking holding grudges and shit like that, because that's what pussies do. And that's exactly what that pussy ass fucking dude did. The dude that whispered in Tupac's ear. I'm calling him a pussy because, I mean, I feel like dude was a bitch. So, basically, dude whispered into Tupac's ear, saying, "That's that motherfucker that jumped me and stole my chain," even though it was a fucking fight. I mean, yeah, there was 4 on 3, but, I mean, fuck, it was a damn fight. Anyway, Tupac ran up, busted dude in his mouth, and, then they jumped him. Then they took off, went to the hotel, changed, and they was going to head to 662 and party up and shit. Well, the thing is, I think it's a setup. I think the whole thing was a setup, because Tupac did want to leave death row. He wanted to start his own thing, and he wanted to make his own record label and all that shit. He's been wanting to do that since before he went to fucking prison and all that, and then got out and joined death row. He did his 3 albums for death row and wanted to leave and start his own fucking thing. So if you guys watch the movie All Eyes on Me, towards the end of it, Tupac says, "I want to start my own thing." And then Suge got all fucking pissed off. So, what I'm thinking is, Suge Knight was all upset because Pac wanted to leave death row. So he's like, "Fuck it, let me do this." And made Tupac a partnership at death row, or whatever. Death Row East. So, I'm guessing Suge Knight was still pissed off about the fact that Pac wanted to leave. He felt disrespected or whatever. So, he wanted to get Tupac back on it. I don't know if that motherfucker holds grudges either, but it is what it is. So, what I'm guessing is, Suge Knight had that whole fucking thing set up. Because if you guys remember, after Tupac got shot up and shit and died and all that, Suge Knight actually paid Orlando Anderson $60,000. It's either 16 or 60,000 to come and testify and say that Suge Knight was trying to pull people off of Orlando. So that way Suge Knight didn't go to prison. Well, he lost out on all that fucking money because they took his ass to prison anyway because it was a parole violation. And if you're on parole or probation, you cannot hang out with any other gang members or anything like that. If you're in a gang, you cannot hang out with any other criminals and shit like that because it's a fucking violation of your parole or probation, and you can go back to jail for that. Even if you fucking just say hey to them or something like that, that's a fucking parole or probation violation. So anyway, that was a violation right there, just hanging out with everybody because they're all suspected gang members and shit. And another one is on the fucking video at MGM Grand, you see Suge Knight kicking the shit out of Orlando Anderson. So you can't just pay somebody $16,000 or $60,000 to come testify and say that you didn't do it, that you try to pull people off when there's fucking surveillance cameras showing that you kicked the shit out of him. I mean, come on now, he already fucking lost that, and I don't know what the fuck he was trying to do, but he served 5 years out of a 9-year sentence and got out and all that shit. He lost death row and all that. But what I'm thinking is, it seems how, I don't know exactly when Suge Knight had him come testify because I didn't do all that research, but seems how Suge Knight and Keefy D, which is the dude that was in the car when they shot Pac that night, Keefy D and Suge Knight grew up with each other. They fucking played sports. I mean, they lived, I think, in the same neighborhood or a couple neighborhoods away, but they grew up together. They was fucking friends since kids and shit like that. So Keefy D and Suge can hang out and talk whenever the fuck they want. Anyway, what I'm guessing is Suge Knight was all upset because Pac wanted to leave death row, and he didn't want that to happen. Even though he already gave him a partnership for Death Row East, he still felt disrespected. Now, this is just my theory. This is just my opinion. So, take it how you like. But I'm saying, I think Suge Knight still felt some type of way. He got in his feelings and shit, and set up the whole Orlando Anderson thing, showing up. I know if you watch the videos, Keefy D says that they've been going to Vegas to watch the fights since the 80s. But I mean, it's kind of weird that you got a fucking Crip right here. This dude just fucking tried to rob somebody of their chain a couple weeks before. And this motherfucker got the same fucking casino that you're at. And one of your boys comes up, whispers something in Tupac's ear, and then they take off, whoop their ass. Then you all jump them, and then you take off. The thing is, Suge Knight should have stopped that shit, because obviously it was none of Tupac's business. The pussy ass dude that whispered in Pac's ear, his bitch ass should have fucking went up and did something. Yeah, they probably would have jumped him then, but at least they wouldn't be after Tupac that night. They would have been after the fucking dude that whispered in Tupac's ear. Like I said, I can't remember his fucking name. It's like Trey D or some shit or something. I don't fucking know. But he should have been the dude that went up and busted Orlando Anderson in the mouth, and then they jumped him from there. Not fucking whisper something in Tupac's ear, because everybody knew how Tupac was. Tupac was a fucking soldier. He's ride or die. If you fucking say something to my homeboy, you say something stupid to me, I'm gonna fucking roll on you, and that's how it is. That's how Tupac was. So, how I feel is, like, everybody has that crazy person in their fucking group of friends. Every time something pops off, you tell that crazy person what happened, and then they go and whoop their ass. That's how older brothers are. If you get beat up by some kid, you go home, tell your older brother about it, your older brother goes out and beats their ass. That's how I feel this dude looked at Tupac. Like, this motherfucker's crazy. I don't want to fucking go and do this shit, so I'm going to tell him about it, and he's going to go do it. That's how I feel that fucking dude set Tupac up like that. So I know that Keefy D said that they've been going to Vegas since the 80s and shit. That may be true. And all that shit. But I mean, it's kind of weird that the dude that just tried to fucking snatch the chain off this dude that whispered in Tupac's ear is at the same casino. He's not hanging out with Keefy D or anything. He's sitting there by himself. Like, if you go back and watch the fucking surveillance video before Tupac came up and fucking started rolling on him, dude is standing there by himself. And I think it's weird that he was just standing there, and out of nowhere Tupac and Death Row was walking by, and then the dude whispers in Tupac's ear and says, "That's that motherfucker that snatched my chain," or something like that. And then they go up and roll on him and shit. I think that shit was set up from the beginning right there. Even though Keefy D and all them's been going to that casino to watch the fight since the 80s, as Keefy D says. But I think it's kind of weird that Keefy D and Orlando Anderson and the other fucking Southside Crips wasn't even together. As Orlando by himself. That right there is weird as fuck. You don't come to fucking Vegas as a clique, as like a fucking... Keefy D said that there was like 12 or 13 Crips that was in Vegas that night. And Orlando's by himself, standing over there looking around. And then out of nowhere, Tupac run up and busted him, and then they jump him. Don't that shit sound kind of fucking weird to y'all? It sounds weird to me. It sounds like a fucking setup. I think Suge Knight set that shit up. And Homeboy was in on it. Whispered in Tupac's ear. Tupac ran up and busted him. So I think that shit was set up. So they knew that Tupac would bust him. And then Suge Knight would look at it as, well, if the Southside Crips are after Pac, we're Mob Piru, so we can protect Pac. So if they have any problems with Pac, he's going to need our protection because he's out here by himself without us. That's my opinion. That shit sounds kind of legit. So, I mean, that's just what I think happened. And then again, after they left the fucking casino, after Tupac and Death Row left the casino, they went to go to the hotel. Pac changed his clothes and shit. And then they went back out. They were supposed to go to Club 662. And they didn't make it there. So the thing is, this is another reason why I think this was set up. Actually, it was set up. Bitch ass Puffy. I don't like him. I never have liked him. He's a fuckboy. That bitch got all upset in his fucking feelings and shit. He was hurt because the whole East Coast West Coast thing. Puffy was scared. He was a pussy. Like, this dude did not want to go to the West Coast to promote nothing. This dude wanted to stay on the East Coast where he knows he's protected there. He did not want to go to the West Coast because he knew some shit would pop off. And that's why he hired Southside Crips for protection, because he knows that his enemies over there on the West are Bloods. Puffy hired Crips for protection, and they actually, Keefy D and Puffy, when they met up for the like the security or whatever, fucking, I guess Puffy was all upset, and he said, "I'll do anything for their heads," or whatever. And I think Puffy said he'll do anything to have their heads, and like he'll pay anything. And then Keefy D said $1 million, and they set it up. What I'm guessing is Southside went to Vegas to watch the fight and to shoot Pac, because there's $1 million on Suge and Pac's head that night for Southside. So that's just my opinion. I think that Southside went to Vegas to watch the fight and then go shoot up Pac, which is, they was originally there to take Pac and Suge out. They got paid for that shit. They got paid $1 million to do it. They didn't get paid the money up front. They were supposed to get paid after. And they went to fucking Vegas, watched the fight. Well, I don't even know if they watched the fight or not. I just know that Orlando was standing in the fucking lobby by himself. And then dude whispered in Tupac's ear, and Tupac ran up on him, and then they jumped him. And then they all left. But they was originally there for Tupac and Suge. They was supposed to kill them both. And they was out driving around looking for them when Tupac and all them went back to the hotel to change and shit. I think that Suge Knight has something to do with it in a way, because it's hard telling where the fuck Suge Knight and the rest of Death Row went when Tupac was in the hotel, because obviously they're not going to wait around and sit in a fucking parking lot or whatever. But anyways, a lot of people have theories that Suge Knight had Southside run up on the side of their car and shoot him up and shoot Pac up while Suge Knight was in the car. I don't believe that theory. I used to believe it, but that was a long ass time ago. If you actually sit and think about it, there's no way that I'm going to have somebody run up and shoot my passenger while I'm in the car, because one of those bullets could hit you and kill you, and then everything would be over. You just set yourself up. So I don't believe that at all. Suge Knight didn't get hit in the head with a fucking bullet. I mean, there's a lot of people that say he did, but it was a fucking piece of glass, or maybe he got grazed by a bullet, but he definitely didn't get shot in the fucking head. So, anyway, I don't believe that whole theory that fucking Suge Knight set Pac up to get shot in the car. I do think that Suge Knight set the whole Southside Crips up, with Orlando being by himself and then dude whispering in Pac's ear, because, like I said earlier, Pac's going to end up needing protection if he gets beef with Southside, and Ma Piru is who he was running with, so I mean, that's protection. So anyways, on to this little bit right here. This is after the shooting, so for some reason my camera keeps shutting off. Anyways, on to this little piece right here that I have written down. If you guys don't know, Chris Carl is the officer, the first responder officer that showed up to the scene after the white Cadillac already drove off. And he was the one that was trying to help Tupac out of the car. If you go back and watch the interview on Vlad TV on YouTube, he gives an interview telling his whole story of what happened that night. And he said that he ran up on the car. He didn't know who was shooting because there's a lot of fucking people. And he did see a car. He saw the car spin out. Like, okay, so Tupac got shot up on Cobalt and Flamingo. Suge Knight popped a U-turn, went back the other way towards Flamingo, the way that they just came, ran over the medium or whatever the fuck, popped the tires, and then spun out. And then that's what the officer seen. So he watched the car spin out, come to a stop, and then I guess he rode up to the car because they was all on bikes and shit. He rode up to the car. Suge Knight jumped out, came over, and like the cop had his gun out. He was just like, because he said he was in fear of his life and shit. And he didn't know what the hell was going on. He thought that Tupac was going to shoot him and shit like that because he was still the only one sitting in the car. Then he walked up a little bit closer and seen that Tupac was heavily shot up or whatever. Said that there was a lot of blood everywhere. The only thing that dude kept talking about was how much blood was all over his jewelry and shit. And then some shit that I didn't even want to hear. Like, it was just, nobody wants to hear that. He said that he tried to open up the door and the door wouldn't open because they shot the door right there by the door handle. For those of you that don't know, there's like two rods inside of a door panel, one from the inside and one from the outside. They're on the inside of the door, but like if you pull the handle on the outside to get in the car, a little rod moves and all that stuff, then the door opens or whatever. So the cop tried to open up the door wouldn't open because it shot the door up by the door handle, and I'm guessing that it shot the rod that actually opens up the door and like made it not work or whatever. Finally they got the door open, and then he said that Tupac just slumped over and fell out. And I'm like, man, I didn't want to hear that shit. But he said that he was holding Tupac, and Suge Knight walked up. He kept trying to tell Suge Knight to get back, the cop did. And finally there were some other cops that showed up, and they was trying to get Suge back. And so Suge Knight was trying to talk to Pac. Pac was trying to talk to Suge back. And Tupac couldn't say anything because obviously he was heavily fucking wounded. He was shot in the lung and shit, couldn't breathe, whatever. And I I'm guessing he was trying to say something to Suge, obviously. I mean, Suge's trying to talk to him. Tupac's just trying to find out what the fuck is going on. And the cop is pushing Suge Knight back away from Pac and the other cop because they don't know what the fuck he's going to do. And I'm thinking that Tupac, this is what I have written down. So, Tupac's last words were "fuck you." That's what Chris Carroll says, or Chris Carl, whatever the hell his last name is. That's what he said Tupac's last words were. And, I mean, I think it's kind of true because the way that he explained it, because, like, if you go back and watch the fucking video, the whole interview, he says that he could have said that Tupac's last words were "please don't" or something like that, and like crying or something like that. He could have made him look like a pussy, but he made him look like a tough guy. But the thing is, I think that is true. Tupac very well could have said "fuck you" for his last words. If you guys remember when XXXTentacion got killed, the bitch ass dude that said that X was crying and all that, I don't believe that shit. But that's basically, dude could have fucking said that Tupac was crying or something, but Tupac said "fuck you" and he ran with the real story. He didn't try to make anything up. So the thing is that I'm trying to say is, Chris Carroll said that Tupac said "fuck you" to him because he doesn't like cops. But what I think happened was, maybe, this is what I have written down. I'm just going to read what I have written down. Maybe Tupac was trying to say "fuck you" to Suge Knight for holding him down in the front seat and not letting him jump in the back seat. Maybe Tupac felt that Suge was trying to hold him down, almost like a human shield in the front seat, and not let him get away from the bullets and all that shit. So, Suge Knight in an interview says that he held Tupac down because Tupac tried to jump up in the back seat. And he grabbed Tupac and held him down. And Suge Knight says that he rolled over top of him. Well, they were still shooting as Tupac was trying to jump in the back seat. If Suge Knight was really trying to hold him down and cover him up, Suge Knight would have got shot in the fucking head, like in the back towards of his head or whatever. The shoulder, his back, his side, whatever. He would have got shot too. But supposedly he got shot on the left side of his head. So I don't believe that whole fucking story that Suge Knight says. I don't believe that he tried to hold Tupac down on the front seat and cover him up. I think this is just another little theory and a little opinion. I think that maybe Suge Knight held Tupac in the way of the bullets so Suge Knight wouldn't get hit. Because obviously Suge Knight didn't get shot at all. He only got grazed by a bullet or a piece of glass hit him. So that's just my opinion. That's what I think what happened. Anyway, the piece that I have written up at the top, that's about Yafu Fula. If you guys don't know who that is, him and Tupac were really close, best friends. They grew up together. Tupac treated him like a brother and all that. And Yafu Fula is the dude that's seen the shooter. Nobody else supposedly seen the shooter. I know Frank Alexander said that the only thing that he's seen was the arm come out of the back window and start shooting. Frank is Tupac's bodyguard, or was Tupac's bodyguard, because Frank died too recently. So Yafu Fula is the only person that supposedly seen the shooter. Keefe D says that he locked eyes with Suge Knight as they were shooting the car up. Keefe D was in the passenger seat of the white Cadillac. Suge Knight didn't want to say anything because obviously he didn't want to be labeled as a snitch. He didn't want to be fucking disowned by his own gang. I don't even think Suge was really in the set. I think he was just claiming it. Because, I don't know. That's just a whole nother theory. But whatever. Suge Knight probably just didn't want to be labeled as a snitch or a bitch or anything like that. So he didn't want to say who he saw in the Cadillac. And Yafu Fula said that he's seen the shooter. He knows who shot Pac. But the thing is, he died 2 months after Tupac did. And the thing is, what I have written down up here is maybe the cop that was interviewing Yafu Fula told Suge Knight, like, hey, this dude knows who shot Pac. Do you want to do anything about it? And then next thing you know, Rudy or Ruddy, Napoleon's cousin, went to go hang out with Yafu Fula, and next thing you know, Yafu Fula is laying dead in the hallway. If you think about it, if you go back and watch all the interviews and stuff like that, Death Row had a shit ton of cops on their payroll. And this was Vegas, yeah, but maybe they had a Vegas PD in on the whole fucking thing. Because if something like that happens, somebody gets killed, they're not going to fucking let you walk away. They're going to ask you who did it. They're going to fucking, if you come out and say, I know who did it, I know who shot the person, they're not going to let you walk away and go home or whatever. They're going to fucking take you down to a police station and fucking interview you and find out what the hell you know. They're not going to let you fucking walk away. They're going to tell you to write down who the hell you think did it, and then they're going to let you go home after that, and then they're going to call you back a little later on to see if the story still matches up like a couple weeks or a couple months later. Well, that wasn't the case. The cop that was talking to Yafufula said that we'll have you come in and tell us who did it. They never gave a time or a date. So obviously Yafufula never had a time or a day to go into Vegas PD and tell him who the shooter was. So Yafufula went back to the East Coast, to Jersey. He was staying with his girlfriend and his girlfriend's mom for a little bit because he missed his flight to go to Georgia. If he didn't miss his flight, I think he would still be alive today, but then maybe we would have found out who did it or whatever. But anyway, they got a knock on the door. Yafufula was joking around with his girlfriend saying, maybe somebody coming to kill me. And then they answered the door. Somebody was asking if Yafu was there. He walked outside, and then Yafu's girlfriend said that you can hear him talking, and the next thing you know, you hear a pop from a gun. And then they open up the door, and Yafu's laying there in a pool of his own blood, and everybody else is scattered. So that's why I think that maybe somebody from the police department that was supposed to interview Yafufula may have set him up, like, hey, this dude has information on the killer, whatever, just giving information out to whoever, and then next thing you know, he ends up dead 2 months later. So the thing is, we actually know who shot Tupac. So no, I'm not talking about Quad Studios in 94, I'm talking about Las Vegas 96. Anyway, Keefy D came forward with a confession. He actually got hemmed up on a lot of drug charges. The LAPD set him up. He went with it, got busted, got hemmed up in a lot of shit. Greg Kading went to his house and said, look, man, we got a bunch of charges on you, and you're facing 25 to life. He didn't believe it at first, but then they showed him all the fucking proof and showed him what he just did like 20 minutes ago or whatever. He knew that he was caught, so it's either go to prison for the rest of your life, and I think Keefy D actually had cancer. I don't know if he still does or not, but he said, fuck it, I ain't got nothing to lose. Went up there, gave his confession, and I don't know if he ever did time for the drug charges or whatever that he had against him, or if he did a little bit of time or what, but he gave his confession and said that when they seen Tupac driving down the road, they busted a Yui, went up alongside of all the cars and shit, looked in all the windows to find out which one Tupac was in, and then shot the car up. And then Keefy D says that he handed the gun to somebody in the back seat. The first dude didn't want to take it because he said, that's Tupac, I can't do that. Then the other dude, the dude that got stomped out the night at the MGM casino, which is, you guys know who it is, Orlando Anderson. That's the dude that grabbed the gun, reached over, and started shooting Pac. That's the dude who killed Tupac. So it can't be solved because the dude that killed Tupac, he actually was killed 2 years later at a car wash because of some drugs. I guess his grandma ended up dying or something like that. He was all upset, drinking that whole night. Went to the car wash to do something, and then seen the dude that owes him like 5 or 10 grand, and ran up on him and popped him, and then they fired back and then killed him. The dude that was sitting passenger with Orlando Anderson the night that, or the day that he got killed. He actually got charged with 3 counts of murder. And they charged him with murder because obviously he was there. It was going to happen. They had guns in the car, so they was Southside Crips. Something like that could have happened at any time. So that's why they charged him with murder. I'm guessing if they wasn't Crips or anything like that, if they wasn't Southside, and they was just sitting in a car, dude rolled up, popped somebody, and they started shooting back, and then the dude in the passenger seat ended up killing people, that should have been self-defense. But they're known gang members and stuff like that, so that's why dude got hit with 3 murder charges. I don't know who it is, but yeah. So I know who also killed Biggie, because I've watched all the damn documentaries and shit. So that's for another video. This one's probably already at like fucking 40 minutes long. I'm gonna have to chop it up a lot. But anyways, that's all that I have for this video. The reason why I'm making this video about Tupac, obviously because he's my favorite rapper. He's top notch. He's #1 in everybody's top 10, and nobody can top Tupac. It's impossible. That, and it being September, today is September 6th. Tomorrow would be the day that Tupac was actually shot, and then the 13th would be the day that Tupac died. So I'm doing this for Tupac. I'll probably make a video on Biggie, just because I want to get into the conspiracy theory videos. I'm still going to do the car videos and shit, but I want to do conspiracy theory videos as well, because it should have just, it's I don't know. I've always wanted to solve the Tupac murder ever since I first heard about Tupac on the radio, CDs and all that. And then when I found out that he died, yeah, that was in 2005 when I heard about it. So I've always wanted to solve the case ever since ever since I heard about it. And I didn't get to. Somebody else did. A really awesome cop. I don't like cops, but this dude, Greg Kading, and Russell Poole, they are probably the best cops that ever stepped foot on this damn earth, because they was trying to give their life to find out who the killers were. And Russell Poole, rest in peace, he ended up dying. He had a heart attack and all that. But Greg Kading actually found out who killed Tupac and Biggie, but they can't be solved or whatever, because both of the killers of Tupac and Biggie are both dead. So one died in '98 and the other died in 2003. So that'll be for a separate video. That's all I have for this video. If you guys did like it, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are big fans of Tupac's like I am, let me know what your top 5 favorite Tupac songs are down in the comments. Smash that subscribe button, turn on the post notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!